Welcome everybody, put on your seatbelts because we're about to start the Tesla 400 race. Starting with some background about Tesla's history, Tesla was founded in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning and named after the Serbian-American inventor Nikola Tesla. Mark and Martin both had a passion for electric cars, where their inspiration was obtained from GM's EV1 car. Their goal was to create an electric car that was better, quicker, and more fun to drive than gasoline cars. Initially, they were funding the startup themselves up until the company opened up for Series A funding from external investors, and they caught the attention of a pretty unique one. Elon Musk, already a successful entrepreneur, he invested part of his fortune made from selling PayPal to eBay and led the Series A funding with 6.5 out of a total of $7.5 million collected. This led him to become Tesla's chairman in 2004. Later, 2005, Tesla revealed its first prototype, the Roadster, as well as their master plan, creating a low-volume car, which would necessarily be expensive, use that money to develop a medium-volume car at a lower price, and use that money to create an affordable high-volume car. Things seemed to be working out for Tesla, but in 2007, the Roadster project was falling apart. Suspiciously enough, Eberhard resigned as CEO but remained a member of the advisory board. Seth Drury succeeded as the new CEO, and within a year, he successfully brought the Roadster from a prototype into production. However, shortly before shipping the first Roadster, Eberhard and Tarpenning left the company entirely. Not long after, Elon took over as CEO. Despite the Roadster launch, Tesla had less than $10 million in cash on hand, risking the Roadster deliveries. In May 2009, Daimler, Mercedes-Benz parent company, bought a 10% stake in Tesla for $50 million. Subsequently, in June 2009, Tesla also got a $465 million loan from the Department of Energy, giving the company the capital it needed to survive. The following year, Tesla found a more stable solution when they went public, opening the Nasdaq at $17 a share, raising a total of $226 million. Revealed in 2011 and produced in 2012, the Model S was a critical success for Tesla, heavily awarded for its safety ratings, performance, efficiency, and three-quarters of the price of the Roadster. The Master Plan Step 2 had been fulfilled. This success led them to their first quarterly profit in 2013, where they invested it into their first Gigafactory. This would be the main facility to build all of their batteries. Continuing with their master plan, in 2016, Tesla announced the Model 3, where Elon promised to the world that they could deliver 200,000 vehicles by mid-2017, and as of 2018, they were only able to ship 2,500 cars. Due to these and other missed predictions, Tesla's investors began selling off their stock, which costed Tesla 5% of their value. Possibly angry with investors, in August of 2018, Elon tweeted that he was considering taking Tesla private, making its stock to elevate by 10%. 1 month later, the SEC charged Elon for releasing false information, driving the Tesla stock up. Tesla had to pay a $20 million fine, and Elon had to step down as a chairman. Finally, 2019 was where Tesla got back on track, by successfully launching the Model Y, shocking the world with the Cybertruck, and announcing a Gigafactory number 4, where they are expecting it to produce almost 500,000 vehicles per year. And to top things off, Tesla reported selling close to 370,000 cars in 2019, closing, in my opinion, as the most successful year for Tesla to date.
Thanks, Earl. I'm here to talk about the history of leadership and leadership styles of Tesla. The founders. As you now know, Tesla was founded in 2003 by founders Mark Eberhard and CEO Mark Tarpenning. The good. At the beginning of Tesla's run, CEO Mark Eberhard and CFO Mark Tarpenning leadership styles were they were visionaries. They were focused on building cool electric cars that can compete with the popular luxury sports cars, while not compromising the technology and cost to the customer. Basically, making electric cars sexy. Now the bad. One disadvantage of being a visionary leader is the lack of short-term focus. The founding team of Tesla had no real background in automobiles, and the project came in way late and way over budget. It appeared that the budget planning process on the Eberhard was poor, as the cost to build for the Roadster project vastly exceeded the purchase price. The challenge. Investors lost confidence in the founders for being late and over budget and inexperienced. Musk, being the largest fund of Tesla, knew something had to be done to save the company. Although the vision of the founder stayed true to date, they both were replaced with their chairman and investor Elon Musk. The save. Leadership under Elon Musk. The good. Under Elon Musk, the current leadership is that of transformative leader. According to Musk, developing an excellent platform for futuristic cars is a crucial priority for the company. With that being said, the organization also practices change leadership. This approach helped Tesla improve production scale according to the variations in the service market. The bad. One disadvantage of being a transformative leader is that it may result in unnecessary risk. Some transformative leaders do not adequately assess whether the recommended change is right for the organization in its current stage of development. Therefore, they take on risks that may lead to the organization's demise. To highlight this disadvantage is Elon Musk's Twitter use. Yes, Trump is not the only one catching heat for tweeting. In 2018, Musk made a tweet that he would consider taking Tesla private, which led to a jump in stock prices. This resulted in the SEC investigation into market abuse, which led to a $20 million fine, and Elon stepping down briefly as the chairman of Tesla board of directors for 3 years. Now the challenge. One challenge of being a transformative leader is that change is a prerequisite. So they're always looking for change, even if there's no need for it at the moment. Despite Tesla's current success, Elon Musk continues to look for organizational change and growth, even if shareholders are not ready. One example goes back to 2016 when Elon pushed for Tesla to acquire Solar City, the then largest provider of solar roof panels. After the direct acquisition, Tesla's stock dropped 10%. Although Musk practices transformative and pace-setting leadership styles, the other leadership styles within the organization lead towards strategic and innovative. One strategic move that Tesla has implemented is eliminating dealerships. Yes, that's right. There are no Tesla dealerships. This gives Tesla direct access to the customer. This allows the organizations to get upfront customer feedback on product experience. Now to Kenzie to speak on Tesla's contribution to society.
All right, thanks, Reggie. So we will move on to talk about Tesla's contributions to society. I kind of broke this up into 3 different sections here, and we'll start with ending stigmas. So while the electric car is not a new concept, Tesla and Elon Musk came to the table with something that other car makers had been unable to do until the point that Elon took over Tesla, and that was making electric cars cool. So they created this brand that paired sustainability with popularity, and they did it very well. And by creating this brand, Tesla and Musk helped pave the way for society to move forward with more sustainable forms of transportation, and also for other automakers to get on board with the trend. The second little section here is supply chain and responsible sourcing. So, in order to positively affect our communities, Tesla bounded themselves to 2 different documents here. So, the first one being the Supplier Code of Conduct, and the second one being the Human Rights and Conflict Minerals Policy. So, these are 2 internal documents that Tesla has created for themselves and something that they strive to follow. And this makes sure that they buy components and materials from ethically sourced companies, and ethically sourced companies that also treat their workers well. So looking at our third contribution to society here, something that might be a little bit obvious, but something we definitely need to touch on is Tesla and Musk's environmental impacts. So obviously we know that electric cars are better overall for the environment, but really how much better are they? But if you look at Tesla's 2019 impact report, you can see that they really are truly that much more environmentally friendly than a regular gas-powered vehicle. So they also made a point to talk about that their cars are not the only thing that's sustainable about Tesla. Their processes are pretty sustainable and renewable as well. So pairing Tesla's stigma end of boring electric cars with actual proof that their cars and their operations emit less toxins into the environment showed to society that sustainability can be normal and it can be something that we all can get behind. And with that, I will hand it off to Trevor to talk about the things that Tesla has done well.
So, what has Tesla done right? A lot of their success can be credited to their CEO and leader, Elon Musk, and his strategies. Harvard Business Review claims that there are 4 factors of innovation capital that Elon's doing a great job of obtaining. The 4 factors being who you are, who you know, what you've done, and the things you do to generate attention and credibility. Based on Harvard Business Review's case study of Tesla, they've observed that Elon is a master of building and using innovation capital to win support for his ideas. He leverages his past success at PayPal and SpaceX to win support for future projects. So he was a co-founder at PayPal, and they've so far brought in $17.7 billion in revenue. And SpaceX, the company that he is a founder of, they actually had a recent valuation at $46 billion. He uses what HBR calls impression amplifiers to get stakeholders on board. An impression amplifier, is something that you do to generate attention and credibility for yourself and your ideas. Just like politicians with political capital can get others to join them in pursuing their objectives, in a similar fashion, business leaders with innovation capital can attract the resources needed for innovation to flourish. For example, when Elon Musk stands on stage and reveals the Cybertruck, he doesn't just talk about his new idea, he materializes it, and he really puts it in a physical form to help convince the skeptics. He also did something similar when he parked a SpaceX rocket in front of the National Air and Space Museum. He also broadcasts his ideas through big media launches, like the demo for the Cybertruck, and this really gets third parties talking about the company and generating a lot of buzz. So let's talk about Tesla's existing models, the S, the 3, the X, and the Y. They form Tesla's core products, and they require the most investment. These core products, they aim to transform the whole automobile industry, and they require paying attention to not just the product, but the entire product ecosystem. So what makes this part of the strategy so unique is not just that Tesla produces electric vehicles, because a lot of companies are already doing that, but they introduced a new hardware and software architecture. For example, a Tesla has more software than the average vehicle, and it's integrated around a single centralized software architecture. Although most gas-powered vehicles already have software, they typically have a lot less software, and they operate on a different architecture. And it makes it much more challenging to imitate Tesla's ability to update software and optimize the vehicle's performance. Regarding their hardware, Tesla's architecture for hardware is a flat pack of batteries at the base, 2 electric engines, one in the front, one in the rear, and no transmission, obviously. This gives them an advantage over the competing electric vehicles because they were built on traditional vehicle architectures. Some of the advantages that this gives Tesla is a lower center of gravity, greater energy density, and more efficient battery management. This means that pound for pound, a Tesla tends to beat out competitors who try to leverage parts of the old gas engines and their architecture. For example, by putting batteries in the trunk rather than a flat pack at the bottom. And on the surface, it might seem easy to imitate Tesla's software and hardware because it already exists. But it can actually be really hard, and it can take a lot of time because we're trying to abandon the old ways of doing things and developing new capabilities. Harvard Business Review interviewed a senior auto executive, and he said that it's just hard for us because we've historically been great mechanical engineers and not so great software engineers. But we need to become better software engineers to stay competitive. Next up is batteries. Tesla's ecosystem strategy also considers the level of individual components for its products. This is due to bottlenecks, right? So in the case of electric cars, even though batteries are made of commodity materials, because their power capacity limits the products of most applications, especially the cars, they are a bottleneck to the performance of the whole system. And so by investing in batteries, producing them at scale and in better ways, Tesla is betting that they will be able to control the bottleneck and thus the profit center for the future of the industry. So what has Tesla done wrong? Just with any new company, there's gonna be some things that they wish they would have done differently. One of those things is too much automation. They became overzealous with how many robots and how many automation that they wanted to have so they could make cars as fast as possible, right? So in 2018, Elon Musk had confirmed that automation had been slowing down Tesla's Model 3 production, and he admitted that humans and not machines were the solution. Elon had also said that, the reason that Tesla has failed to reach a lot of the promised production volumes was due to excessive automation. When asked whether robots had slowed down production, he had said yes they did. He said we had this crazy complex network of conveyor belts and it was not working, so we got rid of the whole thing. This underperformance ended up delaying the deliveries for the customers, and Musk had to take direct control of the production line in April of 2018. They had to pull all-nighters and sleep at the factory to make up for this loss of production. Number 2 is Musk being new to the automobile manufacturing industry. He's been accused of failing to understand that making cars at scale may be the most multifaceted and capital-intensive manufacturing tasks in the industry. Most car makers have a highly well-organized process for designing and building cars. They work out car designs years in advance, and companies do extensive testing before initiating the main assembly line for a new car. Employees must follow policies and procedures to the letter in order to avoid disrupting the flow of manufacturing. People say that Elon, who earned his money in the software industry, tried to bring the software modification approach to the car business. But changing lines of code is easy, and modifying an assembly line, not so much. Car design modifications must be transformed into physical tooling, which can take months to build and fine-tune. By trying to create rapid fire production line, people say that Musk really showed his basic misunderstanding about car manufacturing. He also did not take into consideration how his suppliers may or may not be able to handle such fast iterations. According to an analyst named David Cole, he said he was giving a talk to a tooling group, and they make some vehicles so they can test them and find out if the tooling is good or not. And he said this was standard procedure at every automobile company except for Tesla. He said at Tesla, they take their prototypes into production. And by taking prototypes straight into manufacturing, Tesla had opened himself up to a world of problems and tooling and delays and in production. So these mishaps were in the earlier stages of the company, and since then they've seemed to learn from their mistakes, and the business continues to trend upward. So now I will hand it off to Josh to talk about how Tesla has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thanks, Trevor. The impact of COVID-19 on Tesla started in March 2020. The plant in Fremont, California was shut down along with the battery factory in Reno. Contract work was halted and employees were furloughed. Pay was temporarily cut depending on your position. Cuts ranged from 30% for VPs, 20% for directors, and 10% for everybody else. Around the time of the plant closure, and in typical Elon Musk fashion, he tweeted statements like, "Coronavirus panic is dumb." During the plant shutdown, Tesla engineers prototyped a ventilator made from existing Tesla parts. Tesla donated some of these quote-unquote FDA-approved ventilators to hospitals. Ultimately, it didn't pan out due to the designs, but it was an innovative way to repurpose car components. In June, in a command and control type move, Musk filed a lawsuit citing a violation of the 14th Amendment. He was determined to reopen the plant and get production back on track. At one point, he even threatened to move the headquarters of Tesla out of California. He successfully reopened the plant despite a shelter in place being in effect, and told authorities via Twitter, "I will be on the line with everybody else. If anyone is arrested, I ask that it only be me." In spite of the plant closure and difficulties due to COVID-19, how did Tesla perform in 2020? Even with a 3-month closure and more stringent rules on the workforce, Tesla missed their production goal by only 50 units, which is less than 0.1%. Stock in 2020 soared from $90 to over $800. Some analysts believe this is an overvaluation, and in recent weeks the price is now correcting to around $650 a share. Still, that exceeded everyone's expectations. Following on the heels of Tesla's 2020 success, it has 2021 plans for plants in Germany and Austin. Another event during the pandemic was the move by Tesla to buy Bitcoin. It's impossible to say if this was due to how well the company was doing, but so far indications are that it was a good move. The SEC filings showed that Tesla bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin sometime in 2020. By February, the paper gains on that investment were $1 billion. This was more than the total of all profits of Tesla in 2020. If anything negative came from COVID at Tesla, it may have been a ding on its reputation for safety. Within a couple weeks of the factory reopening, positive cases of COVID were reported at the plant. Workers had concern about how cases were being handled, and they felt like there was a lack of communication. One interesting fact is that despite the Fremont plant employing 10,000 people, Tesla remains the only large American auto manufacturer that does not have a union. Attempts at unionizing workers in the past have been met with resistance from the company and CEO. Thank you. And now Uriel is going to talk to you about leading Tesla.
To summarize what we've been talking about, if I was the leader of Tesla, I wouldn't be presenting this information right now, but I'm not. So metaphorically speaking, I would focus on a long-term plan as I feel Tesla has it down for what's to come for the next couple of years. Besides all the drama, challenges, and problems Tesla has faced, as of today, Tesla is the most valuable car company in the world. So like mentioned before, my focus is on a long-term goal. My plan and decisions for Tesla are built upon the fact that competition is already catching up. You have Hyundai's dominating the affordable car market, where barely in the next 2 years, Tesla is planning to introduce an entry-level vehicle. You also have Cadillac with their new Super Cruise self-driving technology, which many are claiming to be above Tesla's software. And also Ford and Porsche. They both recently built electric vehicles that compete directly with Tesla, and taking into account that both Ford and Porsche have bigger infrastructure than Tesla. So my plan if I was the leader of Tesla would be putting the innovative spirit back into production, with innovations just like what Tesla did years back, going where others never imagined. My plan for making Tesla the actual most valuable car company in the world is by building multi-purpose transportation solutions, taking advantage of some of the infrastructure that is already in place. Just like Tesla is doing now with the second generation Roadster, offering an optional package that includes rocket propulsion jets from SpaceX, which allegedly will take the new Roadster from 0 to 60 in less than 1.9 seconds. The next innovation is to make Tesla accessible for everybody with the help of their self-driving software. I plan to make an all Tesla ride-sharing service, ditching on the driver and building a real self-driving vehicle that could drive you anywhere. Another project is to build upon the tunnels being built by the Boring Company, and on top of just transporting Tesla vehicles, add wireless charging capabilities into the tunnel. That way, the car immediately replenishes the battery being wasted by driving over 150 miles per hour inside of the tunnel. Lastly, all these ideas will be centered around true eco-friendly manufacturing. Tesla has always been recognized for being green, just for ditching gasoline engines, but what about the waste from producing the batteries? I would look for new renewable sources of energy to manufacture the vehicles. I'd market the hell out of that. Some of my ideas and plans that I would do if I was the leader of Tesla, all are long-term goals, but I believe that they're attainable as long as Tesla continues to leverage its current competitive advantage. And that's all that we have here with Team Tesla. Thank you all for your time and listening to our presentation. We're now going to open it up for any questions and comments.